She said her season pushed her to cross galaxies just for me. He leaned back in his chair, letting his eyes drift over the endless swirl of stars outside the window. It was beautiful, bright clusters of colors, nebulae stretching like giant rivers of light, and distant planets spinning slowly in the void. Yet he felt a strange emptiness. For all his knowledge and all his years exploring the cosmos, something was missing, a connection that went beyond data, charts, and experiments. Then, one quiet day, it happened. The station's sensors blinked erratically, picking up an unusual signal. At first, he thought it was a glitch, another false reading from the distant reaches of space. But when he adjusted the instruments, the readings became clear. Something alive was approaching. The human leaned forward, curiosity pushing away his routine fatigue. The signal grew stronger. It was unlike anything he had encountered. There were no engines, no mechanical hums. Instead, it was a pulse, soft, rhythmic, and strangely comforting, like a heartbeat traveling across the void. Then, outside the observation window, a figure appeared. She floated gently through space, moving with a grace that seemed impossible. Her skin shimmered with the colors of distant stars, shifting subtly as if reflecting the galaxy itself. She had long, flowing hair that floated around her like a liquid halo. Her eyes glowed softly, pale gold like the light of distant suns. The scientist blinked. He had seen alien life before, but never anything like this. And yet, despite her extraordinary appearance, there was something familiar about her, something that felt personal. She spoke before he could ask a single question. "I have come," she said, her voice melodic but firm, "because my season has chosen you." The words made him pause. He had read about alien species that followed natural cycles, rare cosmic events that dictated their decisions. But no human had ever been chosen before, and why him? "My season pushed me across galaxies," she continued. "I traveled light years just to find you." The scientist felt a chill, not from fear but from awe. He had spent his life studying the universe, but never had the universe seemed to notice him. And now, here she was, a being from another galaxy, claiming her journey was because of him. He cleared his throat, trying to sound calm. Why me?" She tilted her head as if considering how to answer. "Because you are human, and your species has something remarkable, something I must understand." The scientist swallowed hard. Humans were clever, resilient, adaptable, but what about him specifically? He was just one person among billions, and yet somehow that did not seem to matter to her. I don't understand," he admitted. "Why cross all this space for one person?" She smiled faintly. It was a strange smile, one that carried both warmth and distance. "Because the season does not choose lightly. It chooses only when it recognizes something rare. You are part of that rarity. I must see it for myself." He felt a mix of pride and disbelief. Was it luck, or something more? Without another word, she extended her hand toward him, her fingers glowing faintly. The human hesitated. He had been trained in caution, in careful observation of alien life. But something in her presence invited trust, not fear. Tentatively, he reached out. The moment their hands touched, a sensation flowed through him, like energy, warmth, and understanding all at once. It was as if the universe itself had whispered into his mind, connecting him to a being who had crossed galaxies just to find him. "I will show you," she said, "the path my season takes, but you must come with me." He stared at her, weighing the decision. His life was predictable, safe, but the universe had never offered him a chance like this. And now here it was, pure, unimaginable, and terrifying. "I'll go," he said finally, his voice steady despite the excitement rushing through him. The alien nodded, a subtle glow appearing around her. She moved gracefully, guiding him toward a small shuttle she carried with her in space. As they boarded, the scientist realized that even the shuttle was unlike anything human technology had ever produced. Its walls shimmered, translucent, as if alive. Lights pulsed along its surface in rhythm with her heartbeat, or perhaps with her season. Once inside, she spoke again. The journey will be unlike any you have known. My season moves through the galaxy in currents of energy. You will feel them, see them, and understand them in ways no human has before. The shuttle began to move, not like a rocket, but as if it was flowing with the very fabric of space. Stars stretched and blurred as they glided along invisible energy streams. Nebulae sparkled with brilliance, and the scientist felt his mind reel at the beauty surrounding him. "Is this travel?" he whispered. "It is more than travel," she replied. "It is the path of a season. It is how my people move, how we follow the cycles of the galaxy itself. And now you follow with me." As they soared through the cosmic currents, the scientist asked questions about her people, her season, and the journey itself. She answered with patience, revealing glimpses of civilizations that had lived among stars for millennia, guided by energies humans could barely imagine. He learned that her season was a rare alignment of cosmic forces, one that occurred only once every few centuries for her species. It dictated migrations, decisions, and connections. The fact that it had led her to him was extraordinary. Hours, or perhaps days, time seemed different here, passed as they traveled. The human observed her, fascinated by the way she interacted with the currents, guiding the shuttle through energy streams with subtle gestures. She seemed effortless, yet he sensed the precision behind every movement. "You are patient," she said, noticing his gaze. "Many humans would panic, but you adapt." He smiled, unsure if it was pride or relief. "I've learned to adapt," he said simply. "Space, it demands it." They passed a cluster of bright stars, their light reflecting off her shimmering form. The human realized that even in all his studies, he had never truly understood the galaxy's beauty. Not until now, not until he was seeing it through her presence. Eventually, they reached a quieter part of space, a region filled with gentle blue glows from distant energy fields. She slowed the shuttle, and for the first time they were still. "Here," she said softly, "is where the season will reveal the next step." The human looked around, sensing that something monumental was about to happen. He had no idea what it could be, but he trusted her, and that trust was exhilarating. Then, the currents around them began to shift. Colors flowed like rivers, energy pulses danced across the void, and the human felt a strange warmth in his chest. She placed a hand on his shoulder, and he realized it was not just physical. It was as if her presence connected him to the galaxy itself. "This is what my season feels," she explained. "It chooses, it flows, it moves, and now it has chosen you." The human could barely comprehend the experience. He felt connected to everything, the stars, the currents, the alien beside him, and somehow to the universe itself. And in that moment he understood something profound. The galaxy had space for him and for humans in ways he had never imagined. She turned to him, her glowing eyes meeting his. "Your journey has just begun," she said. "The season moves fast and there is much to learn. You must follow closely, for the universe will challenge you in ways you cannot yet imagine." He nodded, a mix of excitement and nervousness coursing through him. He had left his quiet station behind, his familiar routines abandoned. He was no longer just a human among the stars. He was a traveler, chosen by a force greater than himself, guided by a being who had crossed galaxies because of him. And for the first time in his life, he felt fully alive. The shuttle lifted gently into the swirling currents again, and the stars stretched into streaks of light. As they moved deeper into the unknown, he glanced at her, and she smiled. It was a smile that promised wonder, discovery, and a bond that would transcend worlds. He knew in that moment that nothing would ever be the same again. Humanity had a presence here, in the vast, uncharted cosmos, and perhaps, just perhaps, it was capable of touching even the hearts of stars themselves. As the shuttle glided through the cosmic streams, the human whispered to himself, "I wonder, what will my season teach me?" And the alien, with a soft glow surrounding her, replied only with a quiet, melodic hum, as if the galaxy itself had answered. The adventure had begun. The human and the alien glided through the cosmic currents, leaving the familiar reaches of his home galaxy behind. The shuttle seemed alive, flowing with the rhythm of her season. The stars stretched into ribbons of light, nebulae shimmered with colors he had never imagined, and distant planets glowed like jewels scattered across the void. "This is incredible," the human whispered, pressing his hands against the translucent walls of the shuttle. "I have never seen anything like this." She smiled, her golden eyes glowing faintly. "Few beings have. The season shows wonders to those it chooses. You are one of the few who can follow without fear or distraction." Fear. He had none, only curiosity. Every moment of this journey made him feel alive in a way he had never experienced on Aurora Station. As they moved deeper into the currents, the alien spoke again. "There will be challenges. The season is not a straight path. It tests those who travel it. And you human must prove that your species is more than survival instincts and clever hands. You must show creativity, patience, and heart." The human nodded. "I'm ready. I'll do whatever it takes." The first challenge came sooner than he expected. A wide stretch of space before them pulsed with unstable energy. It glowed like molten silver, swirling and twisting in chaotic patterns. She called it a rift current, a place where even her people rarely ventured. "This rift shifts constantly," she explained. "A wrong move and we could be lost in the currents forever. We must navigate carefully." The human studied the patterns. At first, it seemed impossible. The energy twisted in ways that defied the laws of physics he knew. But slowly he began to notice subtle rhythms, tiny pulses that repeated at irregular intervals. "Watch the lights," he murmured. "They aren't random. They're a pattern just offset in time. If we follow it, we can slip through safely." The alien's eyes widened. "You understand it. That is impressive, human. Few of my people can read a rift's flow without centuries of study." Using his intuition and quick thinking, the human guided the shuttle. Each move required precision. Leaning too far one way could send them spinning into the energy. But he stayed calm, focusing on the patterns, trusting his mind and instincts. Finally, the shuttle slipped through the rift's edge. The chaotic energy settled into gentle waves again, and the human let out a long breath. "You are remarkable," she said, her voice soft. "I see why the season brought me to you. Humans, you surprise even the oldest of cosmic beings." The human smiled, feeling pride but also humility. He had done nothing extraordinary, only what he knew how to do: observe, adapt, and think. Yet in the vastness of the galaxy, that was enough to impress her. Hours passed in quiet companionship. The alien guided him past glowing star clusters, through fields of asteroids that shone like scattered diamonds, and along streams of energy that moved like rivers in space. Each new sight tested his ability to understand, to adapt, and to find solutions. And each time, he rose to the challenge. One day, they came upon a planet unlike any he had seen before. Its surface shimmered with crystalline forests, mountains that reflected starlight like mirrors, and rivers that glowed with faint bioluminescence. The atmosphere shimmered in soft waves, visible even from space. "This is the planet of seasons," she explained. "Its energy flows with the cycle of my people. We rarely land because even the winds can carry one away." The human's eyes widened. "Can we explore?" She nodded. "Carefully. This planet tests the traveler's harmony with the currents. You must move with the environment, not against it." Stepping onto the planet, he felt a strange sensation. Every step he took caused the ground to hum beneath him, reacting to his presence. The crystal trees shifted slightly, the river's glow pulsed brighter, and the air itself seemed to whisper. "Your species has an unusual effect," she said, observing him. "You do not dominate the environment. You learn it, adapt to it. That is rare in the galaxy." He smiled. "We try to understand, not conquer." The alien nodded, impressed. They moved carefully across the shimmering landscape, encountering puzzles that required both intellect and patience. At one point, a bridge of crystal arcs formed only when pressure was applied at specific points. At another, a river's glow shifted to reveal the safest path across. Each time the human studied, adapted, and solved the puzzle with patience and reasoning. "You see," she said, her tone almost reverent, "humans are not just clever. You understand balance, harmony, and thought. That is why the season led me to you. You reflect the best of your species." As they continued, he began to understand the depth of her words. This journey was not only about cosmic travel or adventure, it was about humanity itself. His ingenuity, empathy, and patience were not just personal traits. They were traits of a species that could touch even the farthest corners of the galaxy. One evening, as the twin suns of the planet set, casting long shadows across the crystal fields, the human asked a question that had been on his mind. "Why me, really?" he asked. "Why cross all this space for one human?" She looked at him, her eyes reflecting the sun's fading light. "Because your species is extraordinary, and you, specifically, show it. The season moves for beings that hold potential beyond their world. You carry the essence of humanity, curiosity, creativity, and a heart that seeks understanding. That is rare in the galaxy." He felt a warmth in his chest. Humans often doubted themselves, thinking they were small, insignificant, or limited. But here, in the presence of a being who had crossed galaxies, he realized that humanity had value, not because of power, but because of mind and heart. Their journey continued, moving from one cosmic marvel to another. They crossed living star fields, where the stars themselves pulsed with energy like living beings. The human learned to feel the rhythm of the stars, to move with the currents, and to predict subtle shifts that could have thrown them off course. Each time, the alien watched him with growing admiration. "You are remarkable," she said one night as they floated among the stars. "Humans are unpredictable, yes, but in ways that bring life and creativity. Even the oldest civilizations in the galaxy do not surprise like you do." He laughed softly. "I never thought being unpredictable would be a compliment." "It is," she said. "Your unpredictability comes from imagination, empathy, and problem-solving. That is power, not in weapons but in thought and heart." Days passed, or what felt like days in this strange stretch of cosmic currents, and then a new challenge appeared. A storm of energy unlike any rift or current they had faced before. It roared around them, bright and chaotic, pulsing with unpredictable rhythms. "This is a test," she explained. "The season creates these storms for travelers to prove themselves. It is not to harm, but to measure understanding, courage, and composure." The human studied the storm. Its energy pulses were erratic, yet he noticed subtle patterns, almost like hidden signals beneath chaos. He guided the shuttle with precision, anticipating the pulses, adjusting the course minute by minute. The storm raged around them, but he remained calm. Each time the shuttle shook or twisted, he adapted, relying on both his knowledge and instincts. When they finally emerged on the other side, the alien's glow was brighter than ever. "You have passed," she said softly. "The season is impressed. You are not just a human, you are a representative of your species' potential. You see, think, and feel in ways that matter across galaxies." The human, exhausted but exhilarated, looked at her. "All this, I never imagined humans could reach here or do this." She smiled, warmth in her expression. "Your species has always reached further than it knows. You adapt, survive, create, and inspire. That is why the season brought me to you. Humanity has a place in the galaxy. You specifically show what it can become." As they floated in the calm after the storm, the human realized something profound. This journey was about more than adventure, it was about recognition. The galaxy, in all its vastness, had taken notice of humanity through him. And the alien, a being of immense knowledge and experience, had come to see it firsthand. The parting of the storm marked a moment of quiet reflection. He understood that the next steps of their journey would test them further, not just in puzzles or navigation, but in understanding the universe and humanity's role within it. "Are we done for now?" he asked, his voice filled with awe and exhaustion. She shook her head gently. "No, the season has more to show. You have passed one test, but the journey is far from over. There is more to learn, more to see, and more ways to prove that humans belong among the stars." He smiled, a mix of anticipation and pride. The adventure continued. Humanity, through him, was leaving a mark on the galaxy, not with power but with heart, intelligence, and curiosity. And as they moved deeper into the cosmic currents, he felt a surge of wonder unlike anything he had ever known. The season had brought her to him, yes, but it had also brought him to a new understanding of what it meant to be human in a universe full of infinite possibilities. He glanced at her, and she returned the look with quiet pride and admiration. Together they traveled onward, through stars, storms, and streams of energy, carrying the promise that humanity had a place among the galaxies. And the human knew, deep within him, that the universe would never be the same again. The human and the alien glided farther into the galaxy, moving along currents that shimmered like rivers of light. Each pulse, each wave of energy, seemed to hum with life. The human had learned to sense it, to anticipate the shifts, and to move with the flows rather than against them. Yet, he knew that the journey was not over. The alien had said there would be more tests, and deep inside, he could feel that the final challenge was near. One morning, or what felt like morning in the strange rhythm of space, they came upon a region that stretched for light years, filled with strange, glowing formations that floated like islands in the void. Energy currents twisted around them in impossible patterns, and the human felt a twinge of awe and caution. "This is the convergence, the heart of the season's path," she explained. "Many beings pass nearby, but few ever navigate it fully. It tests not only skill but understanding, courage, and balance. Here, you must show that humanity can rise above instinct, beyond survival, to something greater." He looked at her, nervous but ready. "I will try, whatever it takes." The alien nodded, her eyes reflecting the sparkling currents around them. "Then let the convergence begin." As they entered the heart of the convergence, the energy around them shifted dramatically. Streams of light twisted and coiled, moving faster than thought, pulsing unpredictably. The shuttle shook, though it was alive with energy itself, responding to the alien's presence. "This is different from the rift and the storm," the human murmured. "It's alive." She smiled faintly. "It is. The convergence responds to the traveler's mind and heart. It will reflect your choices, your creativity, your ability to understand balance." The first obstacle appeared almost immediately. A vast field of floating energy shards glimmered before them, spinning slowly but unpredictably. A collision could destroy the shuttle, or at least throw them far off course. The human studied the shards carefully. Each one pulsed faintly in rhythm with nearby currents, forming a pattern. Slowly, he realized that by moving along the gaps and by predicting the pulses, they could slip through safely. "I think I can guide us," he said, a spark of excitement in his voice. "We have to move with the pulses, not fight them." The alien's glow brightened. "Yes, that is correct. Few beings see the convergence in this way. Humans, you truly surprise me." Step by step, they maneuvered the shuttle through the shards. Each movement required precision, observation, and patience. He felt the currents brushing against him, almost as if testing his resolve. And then, with careful timing, they emerged on the other side. The alien's voice was soft, yet full of admiration. "You see not just with your eyes, human. You see with your mind and your heart. That is why the season brought me to you." They moved deeper, and the challenges grew more complex. Streams of energy intertwined like massive braids, and to pass through, they had to untangle the flow with subtle adjustments. The human realized he could anticipate the rhythm, slightly altering the shuttle's path to guide the energy around them instead of forcing their way through. "You are adapting," she said, "and not just adapting. You are improving the currents themselves. That is ingenuity. That is creativity." He smiled, realizing that she was not just testing him. She was teaching him, guiding him to understand the subtle language of the galaxy. Humanity, through him, was beginning to touch the cosmos in ways that no force or weapon could. Hours, or what felt like hours, though time moved strangely here, passed as they navigated the intricate paths of the convergence. Finally, they approached the core, a massive energy nexus that pulsed with a brilliance that hurt the eyes to look at directly. Streams of energy shot outward in every direction, forming a living network of light, shifting endlessly. "This is the final test," she said. "The convergence will judge not by strength or speed, but by understanding and harmony. You must show it that humans are capable of more than instinct. They can balance, adapt, and create." The human studied the energy nexus. It seemed impossible to navigate. Every time he thought he had found a path, the currents shifted, forming new patterns. He paused, closing his eyes for a moment, letting his senses expand. He remembered everything he had learned: the rift, the storm, the crystal planet, the living star fields. Each experience had taught him patience, observation, and balance. Slowly he began to feel the flow of the convergence. Each pulse, each shimmer, each movement became a language. He realized that he did not need to force his way through. He needed to cooperate with the energy itself. "Trust the currents," he murmured aloud. "Move with them, not against them." The shuttle responded, twisting and turning gracefully as if it were part of the energy itself. The human guided it along, adjusting his timing, anticipating shifts, and aligning with the pulses. The nexus seemed to react, opening pathways where before there were none. The alien's glow intensified, shining with pride. "You are remarkable, not because you force your will, but because you understand. You reflect your species' greatest qualities: thought, patience, and heart." Step by step, they advanced. The energy pulsed in sync with their movements, and the shuttle glided like a leaf on a cosmic river. At one point, a massive energy wave surged toward them, threatening to scatter the currents entirely. Without hesitation, the human adjusted the shuttle, moving in perfect harmony with the wave. The energy parted, flowing around them as if acknowledging their presence. When they finally reached the center of the nexus, the human felt a strange warmth wash over him. The energy was alive, not hostile but aware. It pulsed gently, embracing them, and he realized that they had passed the final test. The convergence had recognized humanity's potential through him. The alien turned to him, her voice filled with awe. "You have done it. You have shown that humans are capable of more than survival. You understand, adapt, and create. That is why the season led me to you. Humanity, through you, has earned a place in the galaxy." The human felt a surge of pride but also humility. He was not alone. He was representing a species that had always reached for the stars, curious and determined, clever and compassionate. And now the galaxy itself had recognized that spirit. She reached out and touched his shoulder. A soft light flowed between them, warm and reassuring. "This journey was never just for me," she said. "It was to witness humanity's potential firsthand. You have shown what your species can achieve. The season acknowledges it, and I will carry this knowledge back to my people." The human looked at her, his heart full. "So we're done?" he asked, a hint of sadness in his voice. "Not done," she said. "Complete. The season moves on, and so must I, but you are part of something greater now. Humanity's light shines across galaxies. You have proven it." For a long moment they floated in silence, watching the nexus pulse around them. The human realized that his life, and perhaps the lives of all humans, had changed. Humanity had always reached for the stars, but now he understood that their curiosity, empathy, and ingenuity were recognized even by civilizations far older and wiser than his own. Finally, the alien spoke. "Before I leave, there is something I wish to give you." From her glowing form, she extended a small crystal-like object. It shimmered with the same light as the convergence itself, warm to the touch. "This is a token of the season," she explained. "It carries a fraction of its energy, a reminder that humans can touch the galaxy in ways few others can." The human took it carefully, feeling the subtle hum of power and connection. "I thank you," he said, voice trembling slightly. "I will remember this." "And I will remember what you taught me," she smiled. "I do not doubt it. Your species is remarkable. Never forget it." Then, without another word, she lifted into the currents and began to move away. The human watched as she merged with the flows, her form glowing brighter until she disappeared into the galaxy. The convergence slowly settled into calm, leaving him alone, yet not lonely. He held the token in his hand and looked out at the stars. For the first time, he understood that humanity's place in the universe was not just on one planet, nor in one solar system. Their spirit, creativity, and courage could reach across galaxies, touching worlds and civilizations in ways that no weapon, no technology, and no power could achieve. And as the shuttle drifted back toward familiar space, he whispered to himself, "Humanity, we are more than we know. We are part of something bigger, and now the galaxy knows it too." With a deep breath, he turned back to his controls, ready to return to Aurora Station. But this time, he was not the same person who had left. He carried with him the knowledge that humanity's curiosity, ingenuity, and heart could shine across galaxies. And that knowledge would guide him, and perhaps all humans, toward new adventures, discoveries, and connections in the vast universe. The stars stretched endlessly before him, and for the first time he felt a sense of belonging, not just to Earth or to humanity, but to the galaxy itself. And somewhere, far away, the alien continued her journey, carrying with her the story of a human who had proved that even a single person could reflect the greatness of an entire species. The human smiled, knowing that the universe had opened its eyes to humanity. And he knew, deep in his heart, that this was only the beginning. The adventure was over, but the story of humanity across galaxies had just begun.